Garrett Crochet is set to have an ace caliber season for the Boston Red Sox, but that's not even the only big thing to look forward to surrounding this upcoming season with this team.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I'm here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed, and it's all completely free. So you might as well tune in because Locked On is your team every day. Happy opening day eve. Tomorrow, the Red Sox open their season in Texas with Garrett Crochet set to be on the mound. And I am so beyond excited for this season. I know I've said it so many times on the show, but I'm serious. I mean, this feels like it's primed to be a special season for this Red Sox team. And on today's show, in honor of tomorrow being opening day, I'm going to get you even more excited for it by going over the biggest things that we should look forward to surrounding the 2025 Boston Red Sox. Now, if you think back to the last few years, I want you to picture how you felt as a fan during these last few seasons, feeling frustrated because the Red Sox missed the playoffs, came in last a lot of those years in their division, and it almost felt like there just wasn't hope for them because it felt like ownership had changed their philosophy on spending money. And it got to be very frustrating for people because we were sitting here saying, okay, how many times do we have to watch this team fail before they start to act aggressively again? And they go and have a frustrating season, but then they wouldn't really improve the team in the offseason after that. They would just kind of make some decent moves, but not make any big splashes when it comes to moves that they make. And it almost was like they were being too conservative because they had big time prospects in their system and they didn't want to have to give up any of those players. But because of that, they were sacrificing the current major league team. So that became a frustrating process and a tough pill to swallow for fans because we were sitting here saying, okay, we want to see more from the Red Sox. We want to feel like they are able to build a competitive team. So going into this offseason, the Red Sox finally showed again why they are the Boston Red Sox. And they went out, they spent money, and they made it happen. And they fielded a team that hopefully will be competitive in 2025. Now, one of the biggest things to look forward to heading into the 2025 rendition of this Boston Red Sox team is the starting rotation, particularly the fact that they have Garrett Crochet at the top, a guy who looked very dominant in spring training for this team and looks ready to go. And he was on an innings restriction last season with the White Sox because he had been battling injury, but now he is healthy. The Red Sox have confirmed that they don't plan on putting him on an innings limit and they're just going to let him go out there and do his thing. And the biggest thing about this Red Sox rotation in general right now is the fact that they have guys who are capable of eating innings. And when you look at a guy like Garrett Crochet, he definitely has the potential to be a 6 to 7 inning guy in his starts if he's pitching really well. And the reason I'm so excited about this is because if he pitches well, which I have no doubt that he will based on what I've seen from him, the Red Sox will have no hesitation about extending him because there are a lot of people wondering why he has yet to be extended by this team. And the problem is primarily that they want to wait and see him pitch first and see how he performs and make sure that he's actually going to be consistent before they go and commit a lot of money to him in a longer term deal. So in that regard, I definitely can understand why they would be doing that and wouldn't want to make the type of commitment to him right now before he even throws a single pitch in a regular season game for the Boston Red Sox. But if he's pitching really well partway through the season, there would be no question that the Red Sox would probably try to make it a priority to extend him and make sure that he stays in a Boston Red Sox uniform for a long time. So I'm very excited to see him at the top. This is the first time in a while that the Red Sox have had a bona fide ace at the top of their rotation where they can finally say, we feel really confident that this guy can lead the charge for this rotation. And you had guys who were talented, like granted, Tanner Houck last year was very talented and was pretty consistent throughout the entirety of the season. But the problem with him was that he did fall off a little bit in the second half, and he still hasn't gotten to the point where we can confidently say he's an ace. And that takes going out there and consistently pitching well for the entirety of the 162 game season and being able to showcase your ability to pitch deeper into games and not be so afraid when you reach an order the third time. And that was something I noticed in Tanner Houck's game that he improved from 2023 even to 2024 was that because he had developed a really strong third pitch, he was able to confidently show that he could face the hitters in the opposing team's lineup a third time through and not completely fold. And that's something that Garrett Crochet, I feel, does really well, is that no matter how many times he sees a lineup through, he can still pitch just as effectively because he has enough in his arsenal to where he can keep opposing hitters on their toes. So there are many things about Garrett Crochet to be excited about, but that is the biggest reason why you should be excited about the starting rotation, is because you have a guy at the top who, if the Red Sox make the playoffs, can be a guy who can pitch at the top of your rotation and carry you to a win. It's very difficult to win in the postseason without reliable starting pitching. And if you don't have a true number one starter and don't really know who you would go to in those high pressure games, then it's going to be really difficult for your team to make a deep run and be a serious threat. And what Garrett Crochet provides is that ability at the top of the rotation to pitch in any sort of big game and give the Red Sox what they need. And another reason to be excited about the starting rotation is because of Walker Buehler and the experience that he brings to the table. This is a guy who really wants to pitch well this year because, first of all, he's in a contract year, only agreed to a one-year deal with the Boston Red Sox. So this is really a prove-it year for him to show that he can bounce back from injury and pitch effectively and that he deserves a contract for 2026 and beyond. Because if you think about the types of contracts that the Red Sox have given out to pitchers, they have hesitated to give out these incredibly long-term deals to starting pitchers and relievers because they don't want to commit to guys who could get injured and miss the entirety of seasons. So Walker Buehler is going to have to show that he can be healthy. But as long as he's healthy and he's out on the field, he is going to be a guy that's going to deliver because we know that he has really good raw stuff. And we know that prior to his injuries, he was a guy who would go out there and shove on a consistent basis and give the Dodgers what they needed in terms of competitiveness and a really strong arsenal and very solid pitching performances. So that's what the Red Sox are hoping to get from him. And that's what he's shown so far in spring training, that he's ready for opening day and he's ready to go out there every fifth day for Boston and just take care of business. And the biggest thing about Walker Buehler that he provides is that the Red Sox now finally have an experienced postseason starting pitcher in that rotation. Because if you think about the rest of their guys, yes, you have Brayan Bello, Tanner Houck, and Kutter Crawford, and Lucas Giolito, but Walker Buehler personally knows, as of even really recently, what that feeling is like of winning a World Series. And he personally pitched really well in that World Series. So it shows that he knows how to put off the pressure and still perform well under it on the biggest stage in the postseason. And that could be really beneficial for some of these younger pitchers that the Red Sox have, to learn from somebody who's been there, done that. So that way, then if the Red Sox do go into the playoffs, then guys like Bello, Houck, and Crawford can model Walker Buehler's behavior and say, okay, this is a guy that I want to be. This is a guy who has really good stuff and knows how to keep his composure. So how do I become like that? So that is one thing that Walker Buehler brings to the table that isn't necessarily being talked about enough. And naturally, because he brings that veteran leadership to the table, I think that's going to pay dividends for this Boston Red Sox team in regards to leading this pitching staff that has a good mix of young guys in there and showing to them what it means to stay focused and perform on the absolute biggest of stages. So I think Walker Buehler arguably could make even a bigger difference for the Red Sox rotation than Garrett Crochet, not just because of their on-field performances, because I do think Garrett Crochet ultimately is going to end up being that ace, the true number one, but more so because Buehler provides solid performances on the mound, but also provides that really strong leadership that's so important for younger teams. So I'm really excited about Buehler. I'm really excited about Crochet. I'm excited about the starting rotation in general, because then you have guys like Bello, Houck, and Crawford who are hopefully only going to continue to elevate their game. Tanner Houck has shown nothing but improvement and development over the course of his career so far. So we really have no reason to feel like that's not going to continue for him and that he's not going to be able to continue to show positive and upward growth. So I'm excited to see what he can do to even build more off of his season in 2024, because last year he was having a Cy Young caliber season for the entire first half, and then he dipped down a bit in the second half, so it made things a little bit harder for him. But I'm really excited to see him continue to grow, and hopefully he can take his first half performance from last year and apply that to the entirety of the season this year, because then you're looking at a really solid number 2 starting pitcher. And then people can't really argue that Tanner Houck should be a pitcher in this rotation in the future. Then you have Brayan Bello, who struggled a lot during the course of the season last year, primarily in the first half. He really was all over the place, and I think it's because he was getting away from utilizing his fastball, because that was Andrew Bailey's pitching mechanism. He wanted these guys to start to utilize more of their off-speed pitches more, and that was the biggest thing with Bello that I think was a struggle and was hard for him to adapt to, was having to go away from the fastball a little bit more and utilize more of just the off-speed stuff. So then he started using his fastball more in the second half of the season, and we really saw an increase in better numbers from him. So hopefully he can carry second half Brayan Bello over. But either way, both of those guys in Houck and Bello have shown really strong semblances of being able to be really solid starting pitchers, if not aces, one day for the Boston Red Sox. So there's definitely lots to be excited about with the starting rotation. I know there are some question marks due to the fact that some of these guys are injured and are starting the season on the injured list, but there's even lots to be excited about with guys like Richard Fitz and Sean Newcomb, who will fill out the rest of those rotation spots there, or even Cooper Criswell, a guy who could make spot starts also. So lots of optimism surrounding the starting rotation. So that's one thing to 100% look forward to as we get ready for opening day tomorrow. And coming up, I'm going to be talking about another big thing that you should be excited about. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. Get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to manage your money, so make sure that you are absolutely doing that. Opening day is officially tomorrow. I cannot wait to just enjoy a lot of Red Sox baseball here over the course of the spring and summer and hopefully deep into the fall as we get prepared for a team that could be super good going into 2025. And that's why I'm talking about some of the biggest things that we could look forward to surrounding this 2025 Boston Red Sox team. And one of those things to look forward to, believe it or not, is Rafael Devers playing designated hitter and not really playing defense at third base. Why? Because it's really important for a player to feel good mentally when they're playing baseball. That's a huge aspect of the game. And if there's an area of a player's game that he struggles with, it could really eat him alive. And then it could impact other aspects of his game. And I can use an example in Masataka Yoshida, a guy who in his first year with the Red Sox was playing a lot in the outfield, and the Red Sox were expecting him to basically be an everyday outfielder, but he struggled in the outfield, made lots of errors out there, and it became really clear that he couldn't really handle playing that position. So then what happened was the Red Sox ended up saying, okay, we can't really have him play in the outfield anymore because it's a liability. And because of when he was playing in the outfield and he was struggling with it so much, it ended up impacting his performances at the plate. And then he wasn't really putting together as good of offensive numbers. And then that just had a spiral effect of people saying, okay, Yoshida wasn't worth the money because he can't really hit and he can't play in the field. So for somebody like him, when the Red Sox moved him to more of a full-time DH, notice how his numbers started to improve offensively, and he was able to hit more than just the fastball, and he was able to focus a lot more on improving his stance at the plate and adjusting certain mechanics in his swing to make him a little bit more effective. And yes, he still, to an extent, is a ground ball merchant and just hits a lot of balls weekly into the infield grass. But I saw a little bit less and less of that over the course of the season last year. So then if you relate that to Rafael Devers, because he's essentially being pulled off of his defensive role to be able to focus primarily on his bat also, now you're looking at a guy who doesn't have to stress as much about his defensive performance and can focus solely on offense, because Devers made a lot of errors at third base last year. He actually was one of the league leaders in errors at third, and just was not very effective when it came to being able to even make routine plays at third base, overthrows or bobbling the ball or just not being able to be in the right place at the right time for a ball that was hit to him. So if you take him off of that position, now you're eliminating the idea of him dwelling on a big error that he made. And in this sport, you really can't focus too much on little errors that you make, because there are so many games and it's going to be the emotional death of you if you continue to just dwell on that one error you made in the previous inning. But subconsciously, you might still be in your head thinking about it and not realizing it or not trying to, and saying, oh, I just allowed them to score 2 runs because I made this really poor fielding error. So naturally, then in his next at bat, he might strike out because he's not fully 100% focused on that. So by taking Devers off of third base and moving him to designated hitter, we are going to see a lot more improved numbers from him. And if you look at his season from last year, some people do like to say that he had a bad season offensively, but that 100% is not true. I mean, he had a good year offensively still. He just wasn't quite there in terms of the numbers of where he has to be as the superstar on this team, the face of the franchise, the guy who is supposed to be the heart and soul of the offense. He wasn't necessarily putting up those kinds of numbers, but he was still putting up good numbers as a hitter. So if you consider the fact that he was playing third base on top of the fact that he was battling that shoulder injury all season long, and that obviously caused pain, now you're eliminating both of those factors because he is now healthy. fully, isn't dealing with the shoulder thing anymore, and physically, health-wise, is ready to go. Now you're also taking away a mental burden that was bothering him by not putting all of this pressure on him to be a defensive third baseman. Now you're saying, okay, Devers, we just need you to hit because that is what you do best. And that is putting him in an environment to be able to succeed. And the Red Sox always talk about how Rafael Devers is the face of the franchise. They're really lucky to have him there. He is the guy who is going to be around for a long time, hence why they gave him that massive contract extension. They see him as the heart and soul of the team. And if you see somebody as the heart and soul of the team, you want to put them in the best position to succeed. That's why not giving him protection in the lineup over the last few seasons was tough too, because he was a lot more relied on to have to be this huge power hitter every single night. But now by making moves that they made this offseason, particularly adding a guy like Alex Bregman, you're adding a guy to the lineup who also has a very strong bat and has unreal career numbers at Fenway Park that now supports Devers in that lineup and is a guy who can also be relied upon to take on some of that workload instead of putting all of that on Devers. So it's all a trickle-down effect. You pull Devers off of third base so that he can focus on hitting. You also add in some more support for him in the lineup. And all of that combined is going to help him a lot more mentally. So if you're starting to discount Devers or feel like he might not have a season that you are hoping he would have, don't do that, because I expect will have a huge season this year, and that's something to be super excited about, because we're always having conversations about Rafael Devers and saying, okay, what kind of impact did he make today? Not as much as Jarren Duran did, maybe not even as much as Willie Abreu did, but, he still got a big hit or two when he needed to. I think you're going to see a lot more improvement in terms of him at the plate and what he's doing offensively to contribute. I think we could see him rip tons of home runs this year, especially because he's healthy now and he's ready to go. So I'm excited to see how that goes for him. I actually think it's going to end up being a really beneficial switch for him. And I think he's going to be really happy eventually that the Red Sox made that decision, because at first, obviously, it was hard for him. He said, I play third base. I don't want to be pulled off third. But the second he starts hitting well as a DH, he's going to be even more motivated to continue to hit well, because he's going to say, oh, wow, okay, maybe they were onto something by moving me over to designated hitter. And then naturally, he's going to feel more motivated to continue to perform at that level. So even though he might be doubting it right now, I don't think this attitude problem when it comes to switching to DH is, first of all, as severe as you might think, since he did say recently that he will move and do whatever the Red Sox need him to do. And for two, I don't think it will last for very long or impact the clubhouse vibes or carry over into deep the season. So it's a situation to me where he's going to switch. He's going to take some at-bats, and he's going to realize that this could actually be really effective for him. And then he's just going to be an absolute machine the rest of the season. So I'm very excited to see that. And I'm also excited to see Alex Bregman and how he acclimates in this lineup, because his career numbers at Fenway are no joke. I mean, we're talking 375 average, no joke. I mean, he has mashed at Fenway his entire career. And even just during his time in Houston, you can take memories that of Bregman when he would come to Fenway as a visitor and hit, and he would always just wreck the Red Sox pitching staff. He was always going out there and getting these big hits to drive in runs at Fenway Park, and that's a great fit for the Red Sox. So in his eyes, he is ready to go. He really likes where he's at. He's happy to be in Boston. He chose to be here because he wanted to be part of a winning team. He wanted to be part of a team that was going to be able to go out there and get him lots of wins. And he feels like the Red Sox are a playoff team. So I am definitely excited to see how he meshes in that regard. the leadership and veteran experience he brings to the table is going to make a huge difference for this team. Book that right now. The veteran leadership he brings to the table is going to make worlds of a difference for this Red Sox team, and it's naturally going to propel them as a club to win more games because the clubhouse vibes are going to be so high because he's there serving as a great mentor for the younger players. So naturally, because of what he provides solely as a veteran presence, is going to elevate the team, and they're going to win more games because of it. Just watch how that goes down. I promise you that's what's going to happen, and I'm so excited about it. Coming up, what's another biggest thing that you should be looking forward to heading into 2025? You won't want to miss it because it's coming up. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you will find exactly what you need. Delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Opening day is tomorrow, legitimately 24 hours from now, and I am so excited. It honestly hasn't fully hit me yet. I still feel like there is more time before it, but I just can't believe it's already almost April. I don't know where the time went, but I am so excited to go to so many games this year, and hopefully you listeners will run into me at Fenway and say hello as well. Would love to meet up with some of you and interact with you guys at games this year. Let's make this a fun season all around for us Red Sox fan base. We've been waiting a few years for this, for generally good vibes, and I truly feel like we have that this year. So I'm looking forward to just seeing how the season plays out in that regard. But in talking about vibes and the clubhouse and players being ready to go out there wanting to win, that is going to be the case this year. I mean, this team now has guys who aren't really used to doing a whole lot of losing, like Alex Bregman, like Walker Buehler. They are both coming from teams that have consistently been in the playoffs year after year. And the Astros especially have consistently gone to the ALCS for a lot of years. And these guys don't like losing. So having them there is going to propel this team to want to be hungry and want to win. And naturally, that's going to reflect on Alex Cora too. And there were a lot of people who criticized Alex Cora's managing last year. And it was tough because there was only so much he could do in terms of what he had to work with. I mean, he had to throw relievers in there who would never normally pitch in that spot because their guys couldn't eat innings and the starters failed to go more than 4 or 5 innings a start. And then the bullpen had to be overworked. So if a guy who typically would pitch in that spot wasn't available because he had pitched a lot recently and he was just exhausted, Alex Cora couldn't use him and he had to use somebody else, but the somebody else was not as talented. So now Cora's stuck in a place of, all right, well, I don't know what to do. I have to work with the guys I have to work with. And I think you're going to see a lot more of a change in terms of the way that Cora goes about things, because there were definitely games last year in which it almost felt like he gave up at the end and kind of threw it in the towel by some weird mismatches out of the pen and who he was throwing in there when. But the difference was the roster was not nearly as talented as it is now. Because the roster is more talented now, and yes, they're still trying to kind of iron out some things and see what the bullpen's actually going to be like and is their capability to perform well truly there? Yes. So I think you're going to see Alex Cora have more reliable options, and he's going to be able to manage this team a lot more effectively, because it can be really demoralizing on a manager too. If you know you don't have a crazy amount of talent and it's going to be difficult for your team to win games that way, and you're trying to tug at every string that you can to get this team in the best position to succeed. So that's what Alex Cora was trying to do, was make it work with somebody, even if they didn't make the most sense, but because somebody else was physically unable to work that day. So it had to be where Cora just had to go with the next best option. So the difference now is the next best option is actually a good option. Whereas in 2024, the next best option might not necessarily have been that. And there could have been a huge drop off between the number one best option, as in, Aroldis Chapman is our closer. If he's injured, who's the next best option? The next best option could have been somebody that is not really a closer or not really fit to be a closer, but Alex Cora had to use him because he didn't really have another choice. So I'm excited to see the way Cora manages this team in 2025, because I think you will start to see differences in terms of who's throwing when, lineup changes, who's coming into pinch hit, and who's kind of switching off at different positions. And I think it's because he'll have a lot more talent to work with, and he'll still be making similar management types of decisions in terms of the way that he goes about his business. He'll still be the same Alex Cora in that regard, but you'll be able to see more results and less visible frustration for him because of the roster that he has in place. So definitely lots of things to be excited about. Do I think the vibes are really high? Yes. Do I think the Red Sox are going to be a good team in 2025? 100%. Do I think the Red Sox can win their division in 2025? No doubt about it. I said it on the show the other day. This team now is a team that could be fit to win their division and hopefully make a deep run to the World Series. So lots to be excited about there. And I'm really excited to go along on this journey with you over the course of this season. So I do really appreciate you tuning into Locked On Red Sox and making it your first listen today. Be sure to next tune into Fantasy Baseball on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Just search the show Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Locked On starts the name of all of our shows, so not too hard to find if you're looking for another specific team one or just general baseball content in general. You will feel like they're a huge help if you do check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Next, as always, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side. And the flip side this time is opening day. So get excited, and I am so ready.